Have you ever wondered why Jesus decided to go up to Jerusalem and ride into town on an ass, as we heard in our first gospel reading? Remember, it was the capital and the seat of both the religious and civil authority. Jesus intentionally went to confront both of them, as we heard today in the Passion. Palm Sunday, known as Passion Sunday, starts our Holy Week. It is during this week that we have the opportunity to search for truth. You see, in reliving this week, Jesus is confronting me, and maybe some of you, asking me to take an honest look at myself and where I have stood in my actions and beliefs. Where have I stood when I've heard of corruption among our elected officials, both civil and religious? Where have I stood when I heard of infidelity, double dipping, or even something as commonplace as taking supplies home from work, school, or from friends? Jesus is asking the deacon not only where I stand, but how have I behaved in my interactions at work and with others. For those of you at school, in school, have I acted by looking the other way and not saying anything is wrong when I've seen it? We all know where God stands. This week is our chance to relive this confrontation, watching what Jesus does, and then examining ourselves. We have the opportunity to let Jesus know that we may have not have acted as we should have, or been as strong, focused on doing God's will as Jesus was. Jesus knows all of our human conditions. He walked and lived among us. This week, there will be many opportunities to spend time with Jesus as he travels through this week and all of our human conditions. There is still time to go to reconciliation, participate in Last Supper services on Holy Thursday, or just simply spend some time in silence on Holy Saturday. My personal favorite is to bring myself to the foot of the cross, which is at the foot of the altar on Good Friday. Just touching the wood that my Lord hung and died on for me because I became caught up in the ways of the world and not doing God's will or following Jesus is very powerful. You can check the bulletin or the church doors for specific opportunities and times. My friends, ultimately, the choice is ours. Neither God nor Jesus forces us to choose. We have to choose which path we will follow, the world's path or God's path. Jesus is always there to help us and will fill in the gap where we fall short. We just have to ask him, as did one of the criminals who were put to death with him. In Luke, we hear one of the criminals say to the other, "Have you no fear of God? You are subject to the same condemnation, and indeed, we have been condemned justly, for the sentence we received corresponds to our crimes. But this man has done nothing criminal." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." He replied to him, "Amen. I say to you today, you will be with me in paradise." Easter is the day we have the opportunity to relive God's choice. All we need to do is to make our own choice. Which will it be for you? Let us begin by searching our hearts this Holy Week.